In the last week or two, there's been a lot of excitement about foldable phones. First, Motorola introduced the Razr 50 Ultra, and this week, Samsung released the Galaxy Z Flip 6. People are wondering if they should buy it and what improvements Samsung has made to the Z Flip series. We'll look at what Samsung has done to make the Z Flip better. But before we start, I should mention that the Galaxy Z Flip 6 is $100 more expensive than the previous model. This one thing really affects our judgment of this phone because $1,100 is not a small amount. But what changes did Samsung make to justify this price increase? To put it simply, the changes in the Galaxy Z Flip 6 compared to the previous version are small and few. It's more like improvements rather than big changes. And even those improvements are not that significant. It seems like Samsung wants to stick with this formula for now and see what happens. Meanwhile, companies like Motorola have just started making foldable phones and in some ways are already ahead of Samsung. In the Z Flip 6 phone, there isn't much difference compared to the Flip 5. The thickness is just 0.2 millimeters less when it's closed, which is a very small change and doesn't really affect how it feels to use. But what I think is really important are the small and big changes in the design. The Z Flip 6 looks nicer and more stylish than the older version. In the older version, the shiny and clear body and frame got dirty quickly and showed fingerprints and grease. But this problem is completely fixed in the Z Flip 6. Now the whole body of the phone, including the frame and back, is matte. The phone has a cool texture that feels really nice when you touch it, and it doesn't show fingerprints or grease. Also, the frame is completely flat, which makes it easier to hold. This means the Z Flip 6 is more comfortable to hold than the older model, even though the size and shape haven't changed much. Samsung says that the frame of the Z Flip 6 is made from stronger aluminum called Armor aluminum, which makes it more resistant to drops and scratches. The phone can stay underwater for up to 1.5 meters for 30 minutes, but it's not very good at keeping out dust. The Z Flip has always been one of Samsung's most beautiful phones, and they paid a lot of attention to the colors. This year, the Z Flip 6 comes in some very beautiful and attractive colors, and it's really hard to choose which color is the best. But I really love the light blue color, and I think it's impossible not to like this color at first sight. In all models, the frame and the back of the phone are the same color. For example, in the blue model, the frame is also a soft blue. Samsung says they changed the hinge, the part that helps the phone open and close, this year and are using a dual-rail system. They say the hinge is a bit more responsive when you open and close the phone. But honestly, I don't feel much difference in that area. When we talk about the hinge, what's the main challenge in designing foldable phones? The biggest challenge is the crease in the middle of the screen. If the crease is deep, it can be very annoying when using the inner screen. This is a problem that Motorola has handled well in its foldable phone. How is this issue in the Z Flip 6? Has it improved? Now, when you put your finger on that part or scroll up and down, you can barely feel the crease. I think this is the main strength of the Z Flip 6, at least compared to the previous model, the Z Flip 5. Besides the crease being less noticeable, the screen's brightness has also improved significantly. The main screen of the Z Flip 6 can be as bright as 2600 nits, which is about 1000 nits brighter than the Z Flip 5. We tested it, and under strong light, the screen's brightness can go up to 2800 nits when playing HDR videos, which is really impressive. The outer screen of the Z Flip 6 also has good brightness. Samsung says it can reach up to 2600 nits, which is a big improvement from the 1200 nits of last year. The colors on both screens are excellent, just like you'd expect from Samsung phones. What makes the Z Flip 6's outer screen interesting are its features and functions. Unfortunately, there aren't any new features this year that are specific to the Z Flip 6. It mostly has the same features as the Z Flip 5, especially in flex mode. But since this year is about new screens and Samsung is really proud of its Galaxy phones, they are showing off these features a lot. They've also used some of the new screen features from the Galaxy S24 in the Z Flip 6. These features come with One UI 6.1.1, and Samsung promises that these phones will get system updates for 7 years. Now that we're talking about AI, I should mention that some features are improved for the Z Flip's outer screen, which Samsung calls Flex Window. For example, if a user wants to reply to messages on this screen, they can use AI to help. Or if someone wants to use Samsung's interpreter mode for live translation, they can turn the phone 90 degrees, and the translations will be shown on the outer screen to the person sitting across from them. The new features might not seem very useful for regular users, but they can be very helpful for people who work with different languages. This year, Samsung was able to add AI features to its flagship phones, thanks in part to the powerful Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip. This special version of the chip is used in the new Galaxy Fold and Flip phones. This is the same chip used in the Galaxy S24 Ultra, but our tests show that the performance of the chip in the Z Flip 6 is limited. Even though Samsung says the Z Flip 6 now has a new vapor cooling system, it still doesn't perform as well as the S24 Ultra. However, the Z Flip 6 does not lack in hardware. Samsung has increased the RAM from 8GB last year to 12GB, which helps the phone run smoothly when using different apps. For the battery, Samsung has increased the capacity this year. It went from 3,700 mAh to 4,000 mAh. However, the charging speed is still 25 watts, and Samsung hasn't used faster charging technology. With the bigger battery, we got about 25 hours of battery life during video playback on the Z Flip 6, which is about 3 hours more than the previous model. Even though the outer screen of the Z Flip 6 didn't change much, you might notice a small difference if you look closely. Yes, the rings around the camera lenses on the Z Flip 6 match the color of the phone, so even when the phone is folded and you hold it, people can see the color of the camera rings and know the color of the phone. This gives the phone a sporty look. As for the camera hardware, there have been some improvements. The main camera is 12 megapixels, and the ultra-wide camera is also 12 megapixels. Both have better quality now, so the photos and videos look better. Overall, the camera in the Z Flip 6 performs better than the previous model. The cameras on Samsung's foldable and compact phones haven't been the best, and this was also true for the Z Flip. But this year, the main camera has improved a lot. It now has a 50 megapixel sensor, which is 28% bigger than before. This means it can capture 28% more light compared to the previous model. The Z Flip 6's camera takes photos at 12.5 megapixels due to a technique called pixel binning. The camera takes detailed and beautiful photos in both bright and low light, and the range of light in the photos is very wide. The 50 megapixel camera on the Z Flip 6 is different from the Z Flip 5. The new camera handles shadows and highlights better. It takes pictures with higher contrast and darker shadows. In some photos, the Z Flip 6 seems to remove noise better, but this might make the small details in the photos a bit weaker than on the Z Flip 5. If you want to see more examples, you can check out photo reviews. For example, in photos from the Z Flip 5, the lights are more noticeable, but in photos from the Z Flip 6, the lights look more natural. The Z Flip 5 shows colors a bit warmer, while the Z Flip 6 has better details. Overall, the Z Flip 6 takes good photos, but the camera isn't the main strength of the phone, and it hasn't improved a lot compared to the previous model. In short, the Z Flip 6 is a nice-looking phone with a good user experience, but it doesn't offer a different experience with its foldable design. Thinking that buying the Z Flip will give you special software features or useful functions might not be right. Even the AI features on the Z Flip don't seem to make a big difference. The outer screen of the Z Flip doesn't offer much that's different from what you get with the Galaxy S series. Because the outer screen is small and has a foldable design, doing complex tasks like replying to messages is difficult. So, there are limitations in using these features. That's it for our review of the Z Flip 6. I hope the video was helpful for you. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Take care and goodbye.